Just 2 weeks ago, the State Department updated its travel advisory for the Bahamas. It was at a level 2 already, which means exercise increased caution. The update noted some particular risks due to crime, specifically armed robberies, burglaries, sexual assaults. And I should note that France, Denmark, Belgium, Greenland, tons of other countries, they also have level 2 advisories as well. But the McAlmont family of Bowie, Maryland, chose the Bahamas for a weekend getaway on April 4th. And the Bahamas is where 23-year-old Dinari McAlmont died. It happened at or near the famous Atlantis resort on Paradise Island. Around 8:30 on the night that they arrived, the family was at dinner when Dinari decided to go get his jacket from the room and check out the casino. But he didn't come back. And when his parents tried to reach him later, they couldn't. Around 2 a.m., police informed the McAlmonts that Dinari had gotten into some sort of altercation and had apparently spat on some restaurant workers. The police said he was okay, but his terrified parents still couldn't reach him. So they went out looking for themselves. And later that morning, police found Dinari dead. But the family says they still haven't been told where. Police never took the McAlmonts to see and identify the body. Instead, they apparently showed them a photo which looked to them as though their son had been beaten. Now, on April 9th, the Royal Bahamian Police announced that Dinari died by drowning, adding that foul play is not suspected at this time. But Dinari's family is increasingly suspicious and fears potential evidence could disappear before the truth comes out.
His face is damaged. His teeth has a lot of fraud. His hair that he normally takes so much pride in. He spent a lot of money in my products. He takes a lot of pride in his hair, full of sand. That tells me they beat my son down in that sand. I need justice for my baby. I need justice.
Investigative correspondent Rich McHugh is on this case, spoke to Dinari's family at length. Rich, so good to see you. Thanks for taking the time. So what did you learn from the family?
Hi, Jesse. So I've spoken with a number of them. I've also spoken with some officials in the Bahamas and tried to speak with folks at the hotel. And here's my take on this initially. This was framed wrong from the get-go. When I first read this, I didn't find much trouble with it. There was this thing about him spitting. He was drowned. When I started to talk to the family and make calls, that's when I realized that there's a lot more questions here than there are answers. And the more you actually kick the tires on this official narrative that's out there that he drowned, the questions are even louder in my head. So number one, there's a 5-hour gap or so where he is apparently in the casino, or there was an altercation, and then he was found dead the next morning, and they said he was drowned. Now, his family last talked to him, I think it was 11 o'clock, and his girlfriend spoke to him at about 12:28 over FaceTime. But there's this gap in this narrative that he spit on someone and then he was found drowned. To me, it's too coincidental, and when I've asked about that, they're not giving really any answers. We don't know where his body was found, and there's more details. But I spoke to his cousin, Jasmine George. She's really well spoken, and she puts a lot of this into context for us. I spoke to her earlier. Take a listen.
We have repeatedly asked to see the location where the body was found. We have no idea where it was found. We have asked for security footage from the night that he disappeared. That has not been provided to us. Dinari's mom actually reached out to Atlantis on the 8th, and she told me that she has not heard back from them. We have asked, of course, we weren't even allowed to see the body until, I believe, last Friday, a week after his passing. I just feel like these are things that should be honestly provided to us upon request, just so we can piece together what happened to our loved one. With all my heart, I believe that something untoward happened to Dinari on Atlantis' grounds. And I believe that they are not sharing with us the nature of that incident.
So, Jesse, these are very simple questions that authorities there and that the hotel staff could answer, but they're not. And that for me, as a reporter, that raises so many other questions. Why wouldn't they just turn this information over?
And for me, as an attorney and legal analyst, I have so many questions about, like police might want to be kind of tight-lipped about investigation, but some of this feels so odd. Talk to me about the injuries they say they saw, because, right, they don't believe he drowned. It can't just be because, there was missing food, they didn't say where the body was, or there's oddities in the investigation. What are they saying about his injuries?
Well, I spoke to his mother. She was the only one who was allowed to see him. And mind you, she was only allowed to see his face. And this was after repeated requests, after days of asking to see her son's body, which, as you can imagine, would be tough enough. But she wanted to see. She said there was a laceration of sorts on his jaw. She saw puffiness, I want to say, on the right side of his face. And I asked, to his mother, Michelle, what troubles you about this narrative about drowning? And she said, when they said that he was at the beach, they found him at the beach, that caused the most alarm in my head, because she said, Dinari can't swim. He would never have gone to the beach in the first place. And so when they said that's where they found him, she said, I didn't believe it.
And I understand you spoke to Jasmine, right, about the fact that they didn't see his body. They weren't allowed to see his body. They weren't told exactly where he was found. What did she say?
Well, that's the most ridiculous thing about this whole thing. Imagine you're in their shoes, right? They have not been able to, nobody has told them, the authorities or the hotel staff, as far as I know, and from speaking to them, where Dinari was found. You'd think if you were, this is an American family in the Bahamas, and if one of your siblings or your child winds up dead, you're going to want to know exactly where your child was found. They still do not know where on that property he was found, but she says it in better words than I ever could, so let's listen to Jasmine.
My aunt, Michelle McAlmont, was told that it was not a homicide as soon as they found the body. When they went to her to let her know that they had found, Dinari, they told her right then and there that it was not a homicide. Now, how exactly they came across this information without having completed an autopsy is anyone's guess. The fact that staff were the last people to see him, the fact that they alleged that he had some kind of altercation with them and then somehow they lost track of him after that. The fact that they reached out to his mom before the body was discovered, a bit concerning to me. The fact that they came to her and told her without her asking what happened, that this was not a homicide. And also all of the confusion surrounding the location of the body, not only where it was found, but where it was taken. We need answers. We don't understand any of what has taken place. We have been given so little information. In some cases, it feels like we've been actively prevented from accessing information. We need America's help to understand what happened.
I can't help but feel for this family, Jesse. Like, there's some scenarios here. It could be an accident. Dinari may have drowned. That's very possible. The other scenario is that he met somebody and something really bad happened, and this family is now trying to piece together what happened to their son, and they're not being told really anything. And that's kind of where I come out.
Yeah, I don't get it. The reports that he's spitting on restaurant staff earlier in the evening, and then the odds are they just ends up dead, drowning. It's very weird, Rich, and I appreciate you being on the story. I just want to end with this. The Atlantis Resort released a statement. If we could put it up, it says, "We are deeply saddened by the passing of one of our guests. Our thoughts and condolences are with the guest's family and loved ones during this difficult time. This is an active police investigation, and we are fully cooperating." I know Rich McHugh will stay on it, and we will do the same here on NewsNation. Rich, it was good seeing you. Thanks so much for taking the time.
You too, Jesse. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.